I'm Hillary Hendershot, your host, and this is Profit Boss Radio, episode 138. Profit Boss Radio is your weekly wealth mastermind. Profit Boss is also a community and a movement for women who are ready to take control of their money, break the glass ceiling, and give ourselves permission to finally have enough. Want the secrets of wealth to be yours? This is the place. I'm Hillary Hendershot. I'm a certified financial planner running a leading advisory firm for women, and I'm sharing with you real stories from real life and real women who are making it happen. Forget Wall Street. Let's do this, ladies. Hello, hello, hello. This is Hillary popping in. Happy April. If you're listening to this episode as it airs, you're going to love my conversation with Sigrun today. She's an incredible and very profitable business coach, and she has a super expansive and abundant money mindset. She's an advocate for women just like I am. So I hope you get lots of good tidbits from listening to her and my conversation about how women can run very profitable businesses and have profitable lives. But the big news today is that applications to the 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience go live next Thursday, April 11th. So if you've been listening through to the end of the episodes, I've had a couple minute promo message about the 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience. This is my private top tier coaching program. So far, I'm running it once a year with only 10 spots available. So if you're interested, if you have been interested, stay tuned. Check out the show notes for today's episode at hillaryhendershot.com/138, or really just head on over to any of my web properties, my main page or 50kwealthmultiplier.com or anywhere on Facebook. We're talking about it a lot. And you should know that once these spots go, they're obviously gone. So if you're interested in the program, check it out and don't delay. Enjoy my conversation with Sigrun. Profit Boss, I have with me today Sigrun. She's a mastermind business coach. She's a TEDx speaker and the host of the Sigrun Show. She's originally from Iceland, but she's spent half her life outside her home country in Germany, the UK, and Switzerland. Since she was a young girl, she's always been drawn to leadership roles. So despite having zero business background or education, she became a CEO of a software company shortly after finishing her master's degree in architecture. 10 years and another 3 master's degrees and several CEO roles later, Sigrun found herself in Switzerland with her new love, but sick and unemployable. Her dream was to be location independent. Don't we all want that? So she could live in 2 countries, travel the world, and take care of her health. So in 2014, Sigrun started her online business, and 4 years later, she's built a multiple 7-figure business, lifestyle business, and has helped women all over the world to build their lifestyle business. So I think we all have something to learn from Sigrun. When she isn't working, she's busy with photography, spending time with her husband and stepsons, and her motto is be inspired, think big, and take action. I love it. Welcome to the show, Sigrun.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, there are so many business coaches out there. They're a dime a dozen, and you stand out from the pack. What do you think you do differently? What is your signature thing? What is it? How come I see you everywhere?
Well, that's a great thing.
It is, right? But you're like, I just have this impression that people love you. You have a loyal following and you're very successful. And I don't even know where that impression came from. Will you help me unpack that a little bit?
Maybe I'm trying to understand that myself.
What do you do differently is the real question.
Yeah, what do I do differently? I do think it helps me that I actually ran businesses before I became a business coach. I do seem to attract women that are more educated, more experienced. And so that's helping me for sure.
Okay.
I did also read the book 10X many years ago. Mm-hmm. And there was something about that book, omnipresence. And it was not like I just took a recipe from the book and, oh yeah, I'm going to be everywhere. If there's someone that I think is everywhere, that's Gary Vaynerchuk. He's basically, I cannot open a social media channel and his video is there. So I'm not at that level, but I think it was also the conscious use of the color red which has been my favorite color since I was a child. And when I started to run Facebook ads, my first ad was green. It was not very successful. The next time I ran an ad, I thought, hey, I'm just going to have a red background and a little circle with my, my picture inside. And then I don't have to reinvent the Facebook ad every time. So I started to run these ads. And people started to tell me, I always know when it's your ad because it's red. And it just became a theme. And in 2014, I think one of the reasons people may also remember me, even so many years later, is that I did weekly webinars. I was very active in several female entrepreneur Facebook groups. I would spend hours every day in those groups and help people without selling anything. I also did those webinars without selling anything. And I do still think today I benefit from being so helpful. Now I don't have time to spend time in all these groups. I don't do my weekly webinars anymore. I moved over to a podcast. I launched with 100 episodes in 100 days. So I guess when I start something, a new project, I do it like in a massive way in terms of content creation. And that is really inspiring to my community. And then I get more followers.
100 episodes in 100 days.
Yes.
So you basically did nothing but podcast for a long while. Okay, good. So I would really like my listeners, whether they're wage earners or entrepreneurs, to be able to learn from you, because just looking at your narrative, at your path, your success in business and in the financial world, which are, by the way, inextricably tied, it seems to me like you have a very abundant money mindset. Would you say that money is an area of life that works pretty much the way that you'd like it to? Would you describe yourself as a high earner?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've just been almost born that way. My parents had their own business. We were not like what I call wealthy, but we were okay. Like they had a dry cleaning, which is pretty much, the lowest paying jobs you can get. But it was our dry cleaning, and it provided well for my family. I started to work when I was 10 years old. I knew immediately how to negotiate my salary.
Yeah.
I was one of the best paid people in the company right from 10 years old. And I also delivered. I was willing to do anything that was needed. Swipe the floors, serve the customers, iron shirts, press the pants, give it to me, and I will do it, and I will do it well.
When you say you were born that way, if you look at what you believe about money or what you believe to be true about money, or maybe you've done some internal work, what do you think is your money mindset? What do you think is true about money and you in regards to money? How come you can have such a high income and other women struggle with it sometimes?
I've always believed that anything is possible. I do think it does help a bit that I come from Iceland, where we don't really believe that, people can be born with little money then can earn a lot later. So it's almost like the American dream. We still believe in that in Iceland. And I do see people being able to do really anything. I think it's gone a little bit worse the recent years. There's a bigger gap between, people. But when I was growing up, I didn't realize there were rich people and poor people. I just saw everyone as being equal. The president of Iceland would come into the dry cleaning. I would serve her. It was a woman. And it was on a first name basis. So if she can do it, I can do it.
The president of Iceland?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. So she's served in the dry cleaning shop?
Yes, she sometimes brought her own clothes, and I would take the clothes and mark them. And one day I found pearl earrings in her pocket. And I put it in a little bag and tagged it, and she was so thankful. And I got a special, kind of greetings from her for saving her pearl earrings.
Okay, so Icelanders just believe that anything is possible. It's the Icelandic dream, not the American dream anymore.
Yes.
And so how did you get or happen upon your first CEO job, and how did you negotiate your compensation there?
So I was a project manager. I had studied architecture, but I was very much drawn to the tech industry, software, IT, and I started to work in a software company. And it was a small software company with only 15 employees. And I really enjoyed the job because I was basically like a salesperson / project manager. I had contacts to all the clients, and I would send out offers and write contracts and follow up on the projects. And one day I come to work and the company has been sold. And I started to think like, oh, I don't want a new boss, because my boss pretty much left me alone doing my job. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have any contacts to the clients. He was more like a hands-off CEO. It was like a part-time thing for him, not very involved. And I thought to myself, after a few days of thinking about this, could I be the CEO? And I started to ask my mom. She said, I don't know. I asked my dad. He said, why not? I asked a boy I was dating, or man I was dating at the time. He said, well, why not? So the general theme was that the man thought it was not a problem at all, even though I brought up things like, I don't know accounting. I don't really know how to run a business. I don't have a business degree. And they were all like, well, it doesn't matter. And the women were more like, maybe you should not, apply for the job. Well, there was no official application process because this just basically just happened. And nobody was looking for a CEO. And I realized they are not going to come and ask me because I am just a project manager. I'm basically invisible. They're probably going to ask a guy, the marketing manager, or someone else that is more visible in the company. So I thought to myself, I need to go and ask for this job. And I figure out who has bought the company. I contact their offices. Turns out that I know someone in the office. We played together when I was 5 years old or something like that. So at least I had like a little bit connection, even if we had not spoken together for many, many years. And I asked this woman, what do I need to do? And she said, you have to write a 2-page memo, the status of the company now, and where you could take it. And yes, I can tell you that they don't have currently a CEO in mind. And I'm like, okay. So I had no idea. Yes. So I sat down, I wrote the 2-page memo, and I wrote it with my limited knowledge. I did not have access to the books of the company. I did not know exactly how the finances were, but I had to make a guesstimate. And I wrote a 2-page memo, guesstimate, sent it in, and then I heard nothing. Then I took 1 day off of work because I was studying another master's degree. I collect them. No. And my sister, who was working at the company too, calls me up and says, the new owner was here. And I'm like, oh my God, now I've lost my job. Like the one that I didn't have yet. I was kind of, this is my chance. I have to contact these people. So I figured out a mobile phone number. I had to make several phone calls, and I get the mobile phone number of this guy, of the new owner. I call him up and I said, I wasn't there in today, but, I work at this company. I would really like to talk to you. And he said, okay. And I said, do you have my memo? He said, yes, I do. And he asked me if I could meet with him at a cafe the same afternoon. And he showed up there with his lawyer. And I'm like totally green, know nothing. I've just written the memo. And basically one thing led to another. 3 weeks later, he had hired me because he loved my bold approach.
So boldness paid off, and it didn't require experience as a CEO.
No.
Yeah. And so you went through how many CEO positions?
I worked for this guy. So this was a venture capitalist that owned 40 companies, which led to me working for 2-3 companies for him. And then I moved to Switzerland, and then I worked at one company there. So yeah, it was 4 or 5 positions.
Okay. And let's see. So then you had some things happen in your personal life, and that led you to wanting to transition to a location independent business, being a business owner. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was basically then I had moved to Switzerland to be with my newfound love that I met at London. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be easy to get a job in Switzerland. It was not easy because I have let's say, I'm quite unemployable. It's difficult to find a job when you have lots of experience, but you are relatively young. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of varied experience, not just one thing that you do for many, many years. And but I still found a job, but then I got sick for 7 months. I couldn't work. I was basically at home, and it really made me think if I wanted to work for other people and constantly help other people make money and increase their wealth versus creating my own.
So how did you decide to be a business coach?
Oh, I struggled with this. I really wanted to do something else. I thought I wanted to do something special. I was looking for this great business idea that comes to you in the shower or when you're outside walking. And I really went in a horrible overthinking mode for about 12 to 18 months. I had the idea of being a photographer, to write travel books, to have an online shop. I even set up a shop on Shopify to test it all out. And I was avoiding what was so obvious. I had been 10 years CEO. I had actually been a business consultant on the side as well. I was really good at startups and mergers and acquisitions and turnarounds. Turnarounds was my favorite. And I didn't see it. I didn't see it as my zone of genius until it was just right in front of me. It's a little bit like the book Alchemist by Paul Coelho, where he's looking for this treasure all around the world and it's right in his backyard.
Yeah. I have read that book. I know what you are referring to. And I think that's really, I mean, it probably benefits you to have gone through that hard thinking work for so long, because don't some of the women who come to you for coaching have the same question? How do I decide what to do?
Exactly. Yeah. I benefit so much. It was a frustrating period for sure, but I think I talk about it every single day.
Yeah.
Because right? I have the experience and I can tell people I was there too.
So, again, I'll say there are so many business coaches out there. I mean, life coaches, business coaches, but you stand out. So to what do you credit your, I'll call it like exponential growth, getting to multiple 7 figures in revenue in 4 years? That's amazing. And all the while you're dealing with a health issue and some other personal things that you're not working 80 hours a week, are you?
I do work a lot, but still not. I'm a night owl. So this morning I woke up at 9 a.m. And I'll take break in the middle of the day. I'm now working with my personal trainer. I'll go for the walk at lunchtime. No, I don't feel that I'm working all the time, but I also love doing what I do. So I don't count the hours. But yeah.
To what do you credit your success? You looked out into the world and you picked an offering. You have a coaching offering or multiple offerings, and you're doing something really right. What do you say? I'm trying to give you this soft lob here, because I think multiple 7 figures in 4 years is pretty remarkable. And so I guess I'm asking, what is your superpower? What's your secret?
I think I went into this. I went into this knowing I was building a real business. This was not a hobby. This was my business. This was going to provide me with financial independence and freedom. And so even before I had my first client, I incorporated my business. I was so serious about it. And then, I put out some offers. Yeah, like everyone else, I was struggling a little bit in the beginning, not sure what I was doing, and but once I kind of hit the nail on the head with what people wanted from me and what I could offer, it was all about thinking how to scale. So I started with one-on-one coaching, and I highly recommend everyone does that, has service-based business. But I quickly went to fully booked. And from there, I immediately started with group coaching. So I was always thinking, how can I scale this in a way that is still quality? I have today still many of my clients who started to work with me in 2014, they're still with me today. So even if I scaled up and they joined programs where there were a lot more people in the program than previously, they're still around to me. So keeping the quality as high as you can, but they also realize that they're really watching a journey, and it makes it more realistic to them that they can also do the same thing. So I was always thinking scaling. So one-on-one, I want to get fully booked. Group programs, I started with 6 people in a program because I thought that's what you do, because I saw someone else do it. And then I thought to myself, well, is 6 people really the best one? So I just tried out having 18 people in a group. You know what? It was so good, my first 18 people group program, that they convinced me 3 years in a row to renew. The whole group renewed.
They don't want you to stop offering it.
They made me an offer. Say, Sigrun, we have an offer for you. We're all going to continue, and this is what we want to pay, and you only need to do one call a month. And there were things like that. And I was like, that's crazy. So it was even better with a bigger group. And then I said, okay, groups, I cannot do endless groups, So 2017, January, I launched my first really scalable signature program. Mm-hmm. And now I have 450 people in that program. So I'm always thinking scale, but it's been organic in a way that it feels like the quality has been kept up also. And I now, in my group coaching program, I have other coaches come in, and then I have a VIP program where I also get some help from my team.
So you do have other coaches working. Are they working for you?
I don't really have like outside coaches. It's basically my team as a part of their work on my team is that they're also helping out in my coaching programs. So for instance, my Facebook ad manager is not just doing ads for me. She's also in the programs helping people with their ads, and people really appreciate that. Also, my online business manager, she's not just my online business manager. She goes into the groups and said, hey, how can I help you? What you're struggling with, tech or anything that they're struggling with. My husband, who is helping me as a COO, he will also go into the programs and do, some behind the scenes training. How do we set up our project management system? Things like that.
450 people is incredible scale. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when probably, and you did say that your previous success and experience led you to attracting people who are already successful or maybe at a higher caliber or a higher level. And I imagine that many of the people who come to you already have a business, but maybe some of them want to sell that business, or they're serial entrepreneurs, or they just want something different. So, and I want to speak to the women in my audience who are experiencing frustration from the lack of flexibility, whether that be time flexibility or location flexibility from being a wage earning employee, and are maybe considering starting a business. I'm also thinking of a client that I have who is in the armed forces, and she will retire in a handful of years. And she's really found a love in the practice of yoga. And, she's thinking about how to really make money doing that. So do you have a model for women to think about what kind of business do I want to start out in? Or how can I think about a business that's going to be successful? Like, for example, one of the things I've said to people is, if you can't make $1 million and pay yourself $250,000, you probably should just go get a job. Now, that's obviously a very broad brush, but
I like that. I like that statement.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if you start out thinking this is going to be a 7-figure business versus a photographer who, once they're fully booked, they're done. That's it. End of game. Yes. You can't earn any more money. So do you have a model or a way that you encourage women to think about what business to start?
Yes, actually, that was my first online course back in 2014. I call it Passionathon. I might change the name in the future because people don't get it. But basically, you find your passion in a marathon way. So it's like 30 days, you'll find your profitable business idea. And I take you through a process of brainstorming, even going back to your childhood, because I think people might forget what they're good at or what they wanted to do when they were younger. And some women are so happy when they actually kind of figure out, oh, this is what I'm really good at, but I've been suppressing it because I was employed or doing something else. So yeah, that's a brainstorming phase. And then we go into mind mapping, all different ideas. And then we come together and something that I call the matrix, where I want to make sure that the business ideas are fitting to the vision. They fit to their must-haves. So I ask people to, for instance, describe their dream life. And that has to fit. So there is, you can imagine like an Excel spreadsheet, and you have list your business ideas in one column, but then you have a column like vision. So how well does this business idea fit your vision? And you give it a grade, 1 to 5. And then you have your must-haves in terms of, for me, for instance, location independent. So photography or a photography studio obviously is not good. So then I give it like a low or 0. And then there are like things, how fast can you build it up? Because I prefer business ideas you can build up quickly. I'm more helping service-based entrepreneurs than product-based. Mm-hmm. So if you have to build a prototype and and it will take you 12 to 18 months, I'm like, maybe not such a good idea, because often people come to me kind of at the edge when they actually have to earn money fast. So we will give the business ideas where you can get faster money, higher grade. And also, investments, is it cost any type of investment to get started or not? Do you need a team? Can you do it alone? Like, we have all these different criteria. And at the end, a business idea gets a grade. And you might end up with 2-3 ideas from the 10, 20 you had before. And then I ask them to develop a pitch. And they will also understand the very ending of this course is about the why. Because I think we all have like a real why, like this foundational why we're doing what we're doing. So you might find a why for various business ideas, but when you really know your core why, then you will know which idea to follow.
Wow, you have a whole format for it. That was amazing. Good. Okay. And so what do you think? I'm sure that as a woman who, one of the things I read about you is that your mission is to achieve gender equality through female entrepreneurship. So I know that you have a why that's about empowering women, and so do I. And my biggest fear for a woman is that she starts a business and then gets just lost in the daily running of the business, and she doesn't pay herself or doesn't pay herself like a CEO, and she ends up overworked and unhealthy and underpaid. And it's just like, I see it too often, right? So how do you make sure your clients don't do that? Is it customized for every client? But is there a secret to that as well?
Yeah, this is the reason I created a 12-month program. In 2014, I was seeing, or 2013, I was seeing a lot of business courses that were like 6, 8, 12 weeks. And I was like, oh, you can't build a business in that time. 12 months is maybe also, probably you need a little bit more time, but 12 months at least you can get a decent amount done. And I decided to go full on, and I teach them accounting. I teach them how to think about money, everything. So, for instance, in my accounting masterclass, I talk about it from a CEO's perspective, not from a bookkeeper or accountant perspective, and talk about how you need to ensure that you pay yourself and that you are also thinking about profits in a different way. So I actually talk about profits from a limited liability company where profits are not so important once you've paid yourself salary, of course, if you're not planning to sell a company. If you're selling a company, yes, profits are important because this value of the company is a multiple of your profits. But if you own the company and don't plan to sell, that's not so important. But paying yourself a salary is. So we talk about percentages, what's important, and how you can make sure that you actually build a business that pays yourself salary. I recently did a free workshop a couple of months ago where people were blown away. For me, for us, for you and me, this is very normal. People say, oh, I want to have a 6-figure business. I'm like, do you realize that you're paying yourself then maybe 50,000 or even less? Oh, no, then I want to, double 6-figure business. They always think of revenue as the same as salary. And right. I have to correct this every single week.
Yes. And it's kind of a little sleight of hand because when you own the business, there isn't much difference between profit and your own salary, as long as you take it out of the business and put it in your own personal accounts. So I agree with you that there isn't an important distinction between owner compensation and profit, assuming you're the sole owner. That's great. Well, I knew that you would have a framework for that. Is there anything I haven't asked about, or anything that you definitely want to mention in today's conversation?
I want women to think bigger. So how do we do that? I think it's a mission that you and I and many others are on. I think it's just a real, we see more women starting businesses now, but we're still not on the point of thinking bigger. There's only 1.7% that makes 7 figures. Mm. Mm-hmm. And we need to change that. That number is horribly low. And female-led businesses typically are actually better run and they last longer. Like they tend not to fail. But the problem is they stay so small that they do not have the impact they could have. Like they do not provide enough salary for the owner, and they do not have like a bigger impact in way of hiring people and hiring other women who could then potentially also then create a financial abundance for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that message, and it's a great place to wrap up. We will include all the links to contact Sigrun and as well as the books that she mentioned in the show notes for today's episode. Just go to hillaryhendershot.com/138 and we will link to you there. Sigrun, where's the best place for someone to go to find out more about you?
My website is sigrun.com, but also I have the podcast, The Sigrun Show.
Perfect. And anywhere you get your podcasts, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks for today's conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I am so excited to announce that the 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience coaching program is back, ladies. Do you want to increase your wealth by $50,000 in the next 2 years? Of course you do. Just imagine the peace of mind. Imagine the freedom and security. As successful women, we want to see our work translate to living the life that we want. But the reality is that too many of us feel trapped by our finances. If you struggle to experience true peace of mind when it comes to your finances, if you're an entrepreneur and feel tied to your business because cash flow is unpredictable, if you want better control of your money, but right now you doubt your ability to handle wealth responsibly, your reality can start to change now. What if I can show you how to begin experiencing sustainable growth in your financial life in the next 7 months? Would you accept my invitation? Imagine being informed, confident, and in total control of your finances through a proven financial automation system. Imagine creating financial security and growing your net worth. If you're ready to ignite your wealth building future, you may be a candidate for my 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience. I'm opening registrations for the second year of this successful program in April of this year, 2019, and the opportunity is only open to a select group of applicants. The 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience coaching program will run from June to November of 2019. If I take you on, it's because I believe I can show you how to create a $50,000 difference in your net worth in 24 months' time. I'm going to ask you to work though. This program has a community element, so I'll ask you to meet with me and the other women in your cohort in San Jose, California, 3 times over the 6-month program. You get 7 one-on-one coaching calls with me, 7 calls with my team to organize your finances and make sure you're staying on track, and we will be there with you, supporting you every step of the way. Together, we're going to transform everything about your financial life, the way you talk about money, the way you think about money, the way you handle money, and the way you grow your money. It's immersive. We're also going to open up your bank accounts and set up my proven automation system, and then my team and I are there for you throughout the program and beyond if you choose to make sure the plan is working for you. The first step is to apply. You can find the link at 50kwealthmultiplier.com. That's the number 50 and the letter K and wealthmultiplier.com. Once again, 50kwealthmultiplier.com. You should know that no results are guaranteed. Just like any coaching program, you have to take new actions to produce new results. Take Danica, for instance. She increased her annual income by $400,000. Layla increased her net worth by $70,531 just over the course of the 6 months we were together in the program. Lucy started with a net worth of $65,000, but by the end of the program had grown her net worth to $111,000. And you want to know something? You can experience meaningful results in your financial life too, if you're ready and willing to do the work that's required of you to multiply your wealth. I'll be looking forward to receiving your application for the 50K Wealth Multiplier Experience.